Welcome to another episode of Getting High with Grandma. I'm Scott. With me as always is Grandma. Today we're going to go into part 2 of Grandma and
smuggling.
Yeah, smuggling cocaine from South America
Yeah.
as a merchant marine. But yeah, before we get into that, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're really trying to get our show out there, so we appreciate any help. Go to Patreon. Look for Getting High with Grandma if you want to become a monthly supporter. And I'm also looking into getting some merch made, hoodies, t-shirts, stuff like that if you want to support the channel that way. So yeah, looking forward to that. How you doing, Grandma?
Cool beans. Good. Got my driveway plowed. I'm good. I'm ready to get this chapter over with. Grandma's been suffering from post-traumatic stress.
Why? I'm curious.
Just recalling all of the trauma that I went through,
the
smuggling, the stress, the trauma, and like I have to get into, during all of this, when I had 5 months off, there's no sense in renting a place because you're going to leave again. So I'm running around partying, drinking,
couch surfing,
and doing if I ever needed a couch, I was doing so much cocaine I really didn't sleep much. So it was very stressful, and so purging this story will relieve my stress.
I would think so. It's kind of like therapy.
It is like therapy. And like I said before, that's my whole purpose of this, is that I've lived a lot of adventures, did a lot of crazy things. I'm not condoning them.
We all have.
Okay, we were young and we were crazy. And so yeah, it is like therapy to get it out. And
well, it's like when I'm stressed out, I get very introverted. I get really quiet. But I'm willing to help someone if they need help. I don't want to burden people with my problems. The longer something stays in my head, the bigger it gets. If I just say it to someone, hearing me say it is like, why are you tripping on that, dude?
Yeah.
It's not even that big of a deal. And then it's just like, the stress is gone once I just say it.
Well, someone. It is a big deal. Yeah, for me, my smuggling escapades were a big deal. They were very stressful.
Have you ever had ulcers?
I had ulcers as a kid.
Before this?
Oh, yeah, way before this. I was 12. I think we went through that in our first session. My parents were so dysfunctional and screaming and fighting and yelling all the time that at 12 years old, I had ulcers. I was puking blood. I was sick. And the damn doctors...
That's the Valium, right?
Put me on Valium,
That's
yeah.
Right. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and my sister, bless her heart, Barbara, was my lifesaver, always has been. She pulled me aside, and of course I was straight, and I didn't want to smoke, and she pinned me to the ground and blew it in my face, and finally handed me a joint and said, smoke this.
Barbara, thank you. Without you, we probably wouldn't be doing this show.
Yeah, Barb, thanks. Love you.
She probably wouldn't have smuggled cocaine either. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, I can't put that on Barbara. But anyway, back to smuggling cocaine.
The staying up all night. When I did coke, it wasn't like that, but I wasn't doing 97% pure.
Well, yeah, number one. And number two, it was unlimited. I had all I wanted, okay? And... we were drinking, doing the cocaine, bartending. I was wound for sound, okay? And I went from one side of the bar to the other side of the bar and continued on until the bar closed, right? I hear for the story. Barbara, thank God, Barbara. I was all jacked up and wired up one night, and we were in the bar, and Alex's bar, and I'm sitting on the pool table and I'm swinging my legs and I'm just amped out, and Barbara's going, what? I was so amped, I was almost close to tears, and Barbara's going, what is the matter? And I says, it's going to be 2 o'clock pretty soon. I'm so fucking wired up. What am I going to do? The bar's going to close, right? She says, here, try that. And she gives me this. She gives me this.
Quaalude?
I thought it was a breath mint. Okay. And I put it in my mouth. And of course, like I said, I'm all jacked up, and I went to chew this thing. Well, I thought I bit my tongue. It was this little piece of new gum that had juice inside the gum. And so when I bit down on that piece of gum, I thought I had bit my tongue.
And blood.
And I went pale, and I was holding my mouth, and she's going, what is the matter? I says, I think I bit my tongue to the point where it's bleeding. It was a stupid gum. But
that's funny.
I'm telling you, I was so jacked up and so loaded in those days that...
it sounds almost like a meth high. Like it was that pure that you were just that. I never got jacked like that on coke.
Oh, man.
That's what I liked about it, because I was drunk, I could do a bump, go drink some more, and then go to bed later.
Yeah, but we were doing more than a bump.
Yeah,
okay?
That's true.
We're doing lines. In fact, I got to the point where these people would sit there and try and chop this shit as fine as they could, right? And I got to the point where I didn't even snort it up my nose anymore. I took the straw and went right through my mouth, okay? And I didn't have to chop it up. So needless to say, I was very loaded and very jacked up. So now we're on to my last trip.
Yeah, we left off.
We left off. Yeah, I'm making my last trip. Well, Bear and I, the bodyguard, him and I became good friends. And so I came back with this stuff, and we went to a motel, and got to know each other even better.
And this was your last run?
This is going to be my last run.
Okay.
These mob guys, were all of a sudden they were wanting to... See, what I did was I only brought back what I could afford out of my paycheck, okay? Suddenly, and the last trip I only brought back 2, right? Well, suddenly they wanted to finance me to buy more, okay? And I tried to explain to them, no, because if something happens... If
You're
I
on
had,
the hook.
Now I'm going to owe you for all this. Well, they kept trying to assure me that wasn't the case. Well, I'm sorry, but if you lose 20 grand or 10 grand or whatever, you're going to want it back.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so I refused to do that. And I knew that this was going to be my last trip.
Why?
So,
how'd you know it was going to be your last?
Well, because shipping was ending, number one.
Oh,
and number two, the pressure from these guys were getting to be too much for me.
The pressure of bringing more?
Yes, they wanted me to bring more, and they wanted to finance it. It was their financing that scared me.
You saw the trap.
I'm not owing. I'm sure you're going to want to owe. I don't want to be that. Look at it as a gift is what I told them. No. So, anyway, on my last trip...
Did you tell them that this was going to be your last?
I didn't tell them it was going to be my last, but I did tell them that I wouldn't bring back more than I could afford, right? Well, I ended up bringing back 4, and I spent every dime of my paycheck. Okay, and coming home, I was stressing because Pig was not with me. And I was doing this all on my own. So I'm suddenly in fear. I've got these guys waiting for me that are expecting as much as possible. And with my paycheck, we were able to draw 2/3 of your pay in each port. So I kept withdrawing my money. Well, when I got home, the pursers who are in control of the accounting and everything had made comment to me about we've been gone for 7 months and you've got $100 coming?
What the fuck?
And they said, not only that, but you haven't declared any souvenirs or anything else. So where did your money go? Well, thank God I'm quick on my feet when it comes to thinking. And I told them I drank it all. Okay, so now I'm really nervous. And we're getting pulled over in LA. And they're going to search the ships. And they got dogs. Well, so what I did was I took Pepper. And I went down. Really stupid move, okay? But again, I'm so loaded that I couldn't explain to you why. What I did was I took the pepper shaker and went down the hallways of the ship and poured pepper. And in my mind, I was thinking the dogs are going to sniff this pepper and then their sniffers are going to be ruined. And they'd have to go get another team of dogs. Well, yes, it turned out that way.
It worked?
The dog sniffers were shot. They took them off, and they were going to bring a new team of dogs. Well, all the other crew members were pissed fucking off at me. Okay, because now the ship is held up. We're prolonging the agony, and the stress, and they had their shit to worry about too. Well, thank God it took them too long to get another team, and the shipping company ended up paying off customs. So we were sent on to San Francisco. So now I get off the ship, and Bear and I are in this motel room getting fucking high for days, okay? For days. And I had turned over to the mob, the two. And
you kept 2.
And I kept 2. And they said...
that's a lot.
They wanted more, and they wanted more. And I knew that day was coming, and I told Bear, I says, you know what, this is enough. I said, that was my last trip. I'm now going to go up to Santa Rosa and look for that house I always wanted. Okay? So we packed up and moved to Santa Rosa. Well, sure enough, what do you expect? They came up to Santa Rosa.
Who's they?
The mob.
Looking for you?
They came up to Santa Rosa. Well, again, the bar owners in Santa Rosa were tied to these bookmakers and stuff out of the bars in San Francisco.
How far out of San Francisco is it?
It's only 75 miles.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so... the bar owners up there know the bar owners in San Francisco, and so there was there's no hiding.
Yeah. There's a girl up here who's got good coke and lots of it.
And they knew me because, again, I was the only female bartender on Mission Street, so I became well known.
You had a reputation.
Had a reputation. So anyway, they contacted me in Santa Rosa, and... again, I told them, no, I'm not. They wanted me to fly down to Peru. I told them shipping's gone. Okay, there's no more ships. There's nothing I could do. They wanted to fly me
like
to
in
South
Blow.
America.
Like the movie Blow. A little plane.
I've never seen it. But they wanted to fly. And I told them no. It was one thing to bring it back on the ships that I knew.
That you worked on.
That I worked on. But I'm not flying anywhere. Well, they kept the pressure on so bad that what I did was I had them fly me to South America. I spent 2 weeks in Callao, Peru, and flew home and told them I couldn't make connection. Okay? So now...
How much money did they give you?
They gave me 10 grand.
Holy shit.
Yes, but I came back with their money, except for what it cost me to stay at a hotel, right?
How much? That's so much coke. 10 grand.
And I brought it back and said, I'm sorry, there's nothing I could do for you. Okay, so now he says, well, do you have any of yours left? I said, I have a little. He says, well, I got this friend You know, of course, it's always a friend. I've got this friend who needs to buy some. I said, okay. So this guy comes over, and I assume he's a friend of these mob guys, right? So the guy buys an ounce from me, but it was half cut because Bear and I were dipping into it and using. Okay?
So Bear moved to Rosa with you?
Yeah.
What'd the mob say? Because didn't he work for them?
Yeah, but what do they care?
Yeah.
I mean, there was no ship for him to meet or anything else. No skin off their nose.
It's
if
not
we
like you have to
hooked
put your
together.
2 weeks in.
Yeah, I don't owe you anything. I could screw who I want to screw, right?
Hey, Vinny, can I get a letter of recommendation?
Exactly. So now this guy buys an ounce from me that's half cut. And I figured, you know, it wasn't, to me, it wasn't the greatest half cut. So I figured he would go away. Well, the guy came back and he wanted more. And I said to myself, this guy's got to be a fucking narc. He's got to be a narc because who else would buy cut dope and want more?
And how long in between purchases?
Oh, just a week or so, you know. So he came back and he wanted some more. Well, the guy gave me the creeps. Didn't like him. Should have been a red flag, but I'm too out of it to get.
It was a red flag, though.
It was a red flag, but I'm too loaded to catch it. Okay, so the next time he came back, I figured there's one way to get rid of him. I had none left now. Okay, I sold him the last ounce. I sold him another ounce of pure vitamin B12. And lo and behold, a week later, he's back knocking on my door. He wants more. And I knew it. I says, he's a narc. Okay, first of all, anybody who would want vitamin B12, it had to be a narc. But I had already told myself, I have already sold to him. I made one sale. So
you're fucked anyways.
I'm guilty. Sales is sales is sales. Well, this guy came back 15 times. And 15 times I sold him vitamin B12. Okay? So now the mom guy comes up.
Why didn't you stop? Because it was money?
Because it was money. And I kept saying, well, I'm already guilty.
Because you did the first one.
Because I did the first one.
Even though it was half cut.
Sales is sales is sales. Okay?
The intent.
Wow. Little did I know about the law, and we'll get into that. Okay?
You could probably be a lawyer.
The mom guy comes up, and he wants to chat. Because I called him. I said, there is something wrong with this guy. And we need to talk about it. Okay, so he comes up, and I went to meet him outside and I got in his car, and
was he scary?
The mob guy? No, these
Oh,
were
yeah, you knew
friends
him.
of mine. These are friends of mine from San Francisco. So I get in the car and I start talking to him about the snark. Well, the next thing I know, we're surrounded by at least 6 to 8 cop cars.
He was a narc too.
No, we'll get to that. They surrounded us, and this guy says to me, I'm not going out without a flame, right? And he's reaching under his seat for a gun, and I went, fuck that. And I jumped out of the car and threw my hands in the air, and I'm gone. While this was going on, Bear was in the apartment. He took all that narc's money and split.
Yeah.
Okay?
Smart.
Very smart. But now the problem comes down. I'm arrested. Okay? They want to know where their money is. I said, what money? I don't know what you're talking about. Right? Well, they were pissed.
Did they have you tapped or anything? Wiretapped?
Oh, yes. Well, when we finally get to court, we have surveillance that they were following me up and down from Santa Rosa to San Francisco on many occasions. But each time I crossed the Golden Gate Bridge, they lost me. Because you could go right or you could go left, and it'll end up on two ends of the city. So they always lost me in the city. So now... And Grandma's really tired, okay? All of these memories bring back post-traumatic stress.
It's like reliving it.
It's reliving it. And so the bus comes down. They've got me in a cell, and they're telling me, look, we don't want you. I had no record. This was my first offense, first arrest. Okay, and I was 28 years old. So...
Who narked on you, do you think?
The guy I was selling to was the narc. He was an undercover.
No, I know, but how did the undercover know to find you?
The mob guy hooked me up with him, telling me he was a friend. Well, this mob guy had to have made friends with the stranger. Okay? And so he hooked him up with me because he figured I had some to sell.
And he probably didn't trust him either.
Well, here's what it goes down. The cop is kicked off the force, the undercover cop. Because what he was doing was taking that vitamin B12 that I was selling him, and he was exchanging it for real drugs out of the evidence room. And so he was kicked off the force. Okay? He was using two. So that's why he kept returning to buy vitamin B12, because he was exchanging it for real dope. Now I'm really pissed. Okay, now I'm really pissed. It's a whole thing. So back to the charge. They're telling me, look, I won't say the mob guy's name, okay? But they're telling me, we don't want you. You are nobody, okay? They said, if you would just say it was his, we'll cut you loose. I said, but it wasn't his.
It really wasn't.
It really wasn't. And so how can I say that?
They're probably looking at you thinking you have no record, you're a girl, whatever, young.
They didn't want me. They wanted the mob guy, and they flat out told me, we don't care if it's not his. All you have to do is say it was, and we will let you go. I said, no. Sorry, can't do that. Grandma doesn't drop names, okay?
Nobody should.
First of all. Secondly, I was tired. I was worn out, and I was tired, and almost glad to see this come to an end, you know?
Oh,
and
you were.
So I get a lawyer, okay? These court proceedings were ridiculous, okay? They lasted almost 2 years. I had to go back and forth from San Francisco to Santa Rosa for them to postpone, extend this, that.
Judicial industry, not system. That's all it is.
So when I got word of this narc being kicked off the force for using drugs, I said to this lawyer, look, they've got no arresting officer. They have no evidence because there's no drugs and the money's gone. So they have no evidence, no drugs, no arresting officer that they could bring in court. And I told him, I want to go to trial. And first of all, secondly, why was there 15? They had me down for 15 counts of sales, okay?
Of B12.
Why my whole question, if I got to go to a jury, was why were there 15 counts of sales? Why was she not stopped and arrested after the second one? Well, that would end up requiring them to bring in the officer. His word's no good because he's kicked off the force for using drugs. Okay, that's why they're... And then my other argument was that it was vitamin B12. I did not sell him drugs. I sold him vitamin B12.
The amount he paid for it, that's on him. But it was under the assumption it was cocaine.
And that's what they told me. They said, you sold it under the pretense of it being drugs, therefore we're charging you as if it was drugs. I think that's insane.
That's insane. There should be a different law with a lighter
That's insane.
sentence. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean. So anyway, because I would not roll over, they're threatening me with these 15 counts of sales. I told the lawyer, I want to go to trial. He said, you can't afford to keep me through trial. So I went back to court and I told the judge I wanted a public defender. Okay? He said, no, you've already shown the means to pay this lawyer. Therefore, you do not qualify for a public defender. I said, this lawyer just got through telling me I can't afford to keep him.
And they hate it when you represent yourself.
Well, being a first offender and never being in trouble.
How old were you?
I was 28.
28.
I was 28, but I had no experience with the court systems. I had no experience with any of it. So, fear. Fear.
It's your life. What were you looking at? Total, like max. I'm good.
Well, minimum one count of sales is minimum of 3 years in California. So 3 times 15.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so this lawyer tells me, he talked to the judge. You know, they have these backroom meetings. The judges and the lawyers.
They're all on the same team.
All this. And yes, and you know what really woke my mind up is me and this lawyer's walking down the hallway and he stops to talk to another lawyer. And they're talking about somebody else's case. And one lawyer says to him, well, I let you win the last two. So this one is mine. And I went, oh my God. So it really has nothing to do with whether you're guilty or not. It's all about this game the lawyers and the judges are playing, okay? So anyway, they had their little backroom meeting, and the attorney approaches me and tells me they have decided that if I plead guilty to the one count of sales, that I would get probation, maybe at the most 6 months county time.
That's what the lawyer's telling you.
That's what the lawyer's telling me.
That you're paying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What the fuck? I'm good.
So, again, I'm tired. Not only did I have years of partying and drinking and doing all this cocaine, but that 2 years of running back and forth from Santa Rosa to San Francisco killed me.
The stress, that's probably...
It was, it's all stress.
How long of a drive? Like, how many...
It's about an hour and a half,
That whole drive there, you're just probably like...
Well, and I didn't have a car that ran well. Yes, it was just total stress, okay?
Speedy trial does not exist.
No, it doesn't. And, but I didn't have to feel bad because they were so wrong in charging me, and this whole thing was wrong, okay, in my mind.
But you knew you did something illegal, but you shouldn't be looking at what you were looking at. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, but then when I was in the jail, I met these poor girls who were sitting there for 2-3 years waiting
For trial?
for trial and going back and forth just like I was, postpone,
Discovery.
yeah, it was very stressful. Okay, so when they gave me that offer, for all I had done, I figured there was a lot I had done that I didn't get caught for. So, yeah, maybe I was guilty. And so I decided that I was going to go ahead and plead guilty to that one count of sales, and whatever I got is what I deserved, okay?
But you were thinking like maybe 6 months. County.
Yeah.
That's what you were thinking.
Yeah, 6 months.
And that was tough for you to accept too, right?
Well, not really, because like I said, I gave it a great deal of thought for all I had done for so long.
That making that decision would be crazy stressful. Because you're like, okay, you said you'd never been involved in the court system. And now you're looking at 6 months and you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I figured for all the years that I had sold, for all the years that I had smuggled.
You're paying your debt.
Okay, it's payback. Okay, it's a payback.
You're trying to win back some juju.
Well, yeah, what I got away with was certainly, 6 months was not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went ahead and pled guilty. Make a long story short, I pled guilty, and the judge says 4 years state time. And then the part that got me is at the end of all the court proceedings, they say, were you offered anything to make this plea? Were you offered a plea deal? Da, 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 da. I said yes. And they just continued on what they were doing, slam the hammer. It got to be so ridiculous when we had to wait for sentencing. Okay, it became so ridiculous that I went out and I got high on heroin for the first time in 10 years and went to court and was fucking It didn't matter. It didn't matter. I had things to say. I tried to say them. I tried to tell what was going on. And all I got was, you're not supposed to talk. You're not supposed to talk. So I saw it as a fruitless thing. I was going down. Okay, and so they sentenced me to the 4 years.
When he said 4 years, did your stomach just like fall out?
No, I was tired. I didn't care anymore.
You were just tired of fighting.
I was tired of the whole partying, drinking, running around, doing this, doing that. I was really tired. And what pissed me off was he gave me the sentence. And then he says, by the way, he says, I'm going to give you a 30-day reprieve to gather your affairs, and then you're to turn yourself in on this date. I'm going, what the fuck? I'm on to just go to jail. I don't know what affairs do I have to clean up. Okay, what all that did for me was gave me another 30 days.
I've had the last 2 years preparing.
And I had now 30 days to do what? I had no home to live in, right? I'm on the streets partying. So that 30 days was just another drag for me. So
Did you just get loaded?
Oh, fucking A. I got so loaded when my turn-in date came. I had some friends because I was so loaded. There's no way I could drive. Okay? And I walk in the sheriff's office and I think they were shocked that I was even there. Okay? And I didn't find out until later why.
Like they thought you were going to bail?
No, during that 30 days, what they were doing was following me around San Francisco, hoping I would hook up with the mob guys again so then they could actually charge them. Okay? They had 30 days of surveillance reports.
Of you getting fucked up.
Of me. Well, 9 times out of 10, they lost me in the city.
Yeah.
So I was fucking partying down and getting higher than a kite. Okay, so now it's my turn-in date. I had these two friends drive me up to Santa Rosa because I'm too fucked up to drive. Okay? Silly me. I know my drug of choice, pot. I figured I know they search you and everything else. So I swallowed a bunch of balloons full of pot, right? And again, did I learn my lesson? No.
Oh my gosh.
So
how big were they?
They were big. They were big, but I knew were not too big, so I couldn't pass them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I walk in the sheriff's department and I'm telling them, here's my turn-in date, and I gave them my paperwork, and they says, it's a standard thing they're reading off a sheet. Are you under the influence of any alcohol or drugs? I went, fuck yeah, wouldn't you be? And they busted up laughing. I'm going to prison. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Arrest me for being high?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you tax 6 months on?
See, now I'm in county jail. Make it a real quick one here, and then we'll end this chapter.
Okay.
I'm in the county jail, and I'm trying to pass these balloons, right? Because I'm dying for a joint. Well, with all the stress and everything that's going on, I become constipated. It took about a week.
3 balloons?
Oh, no, I don't even remember. At least 4. 4. Okay, and
Whoa.
It was horrible. So when there was this American Indian girl, she worked in the kitchen. She brought me some mayonnaise because they're all dying for some weed too. And I'm telling them all I got to do is pass it, right?
Yeah.
So it took about a week, and I'll tell you what, as much as I like weed and as much as I was dying for weed, I would not smoke that shit, and I'm telling you what, that's exactly what it smelled like. Shit.
I know what I ate, so I ain't smoking it. Wow.
So anyway.
County food too.
Well, I wasn't eating. I was very sick for a while between between the alcohol and the drugs that I had been doing for almost 10 years.
So how old were you when you turned yourself in?
I was 28 years old when I
went to prison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, I started the Merchant Marines and the drinking and the partying back at 17 years old when I was bartending. So I've got over 10 years of drinking and drugging, and I was tired. And I was ready to go, and I called it a little trip to the health farm. And that's what it was. And I needed it. So that's that, and that's the end of the smuggling. And
later down the road, maybe we'll talk about prison.
Oh, yeah. We'll tell you all about the characters in prison. They were fun.
So the 4 years was state, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
4 years was state.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at that time there was only one women's prison in California, and that was down in Frontera, California, Southern Cal.
Wow. That's so crazy. It's a movie.
Jeez. It was an adventure, and
hey, is that purple Hindu Kush?
yes, it is.
Holy shit.
I love it.
I'm just so high right now.
Mm-hmm. Getting high with grandma. All right, guys.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, look forward to the next episode.
Yeah. So now my PTSD could go away. Talk to you soon.
See you later.
Cool. I think it went well. But I always say that, huh? It didn't matter. It didn't matter. I had things to say. I tried to say them. I tried to tell what was going on. And all I got was, you're not supposed to talk. You're not supposed to talk. So I saw it as a fruitless thing. I was going down. Okay, and so they sentenced me to the 4 years.
Said 4 years, did your stomach just like fall out? Like
no, I was tired. I didn't care anymore.
You were just tired of fighting.
I was tired of the whole partying, drinking, running around, doing this, doing that. I was really tired. And what pissed me off was he gave me the sentence. And then he says, by the way, he says, I'm going to give you a 30-day reprieve to gather your affairs, and then you're to turn yourself in on this date. I'm going, what the fuck? I wanted to just go to jail. I don't know what affairs do I have to clean up. Okay, what that all that did for me was gave me another 30 days.
I've had the last 2 years preparing.
And I had now 30 days to do what? I had no home to live in, right? I'm on the streets partying. So that 30 days was just another drag for me. So
Did you just get loaded?
Oh, fucking A. I got so loaded. When my turn-in date came, I had some friends because I was so loaded. There's no way I could drive. Okay? And I walk in the sheriff's office, and I think they were shocked that I was even there. Okay? And I didn't find out until later why.
Like they thought you were going to bail?
No, during that 30 days, what they were doing was following me around San Francisco, hoping I would hook up with the mob guys again so then they could actually charge them. Okay? They had 30 days of surveillance reports.
Of you getting fucked up.
Of me. Well, 9 times out of 10, they lost me in the city.
Yeah.
You know, so I was fucking partying down and getting higher than a kite. Okay, so now it's my turn-in date. I had these 2 friends drive me up to Santa Rosa because I'm too fucked up to drive. Okay, silly me. I know my drug of choice, pot. I figured I know they search you and everything else, so I swallowed a bunch of balloons full of pot, right? And again, did I learn my lesson? No.
Oh my gosh.
So
how big were they?
They were big. They were big, but I knew were not too big, so I couldn't pass them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I walk in the sheriff's department and I'm telling them, here's my turn-in date, and I gave them my paperwork, and they says, it's a standard thing they're reading off a sheet. Are you under the influence of any alcohol or drugs? I went, fuck yeah, wouldn't you be? And they busted up laughing. I'm going to prison. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Arrest me for being high?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you going to tax 6 months on?
See, now I'm in county jail. Make it a real quick one here, and then we'll end this chapter.
Okay.
I'm in the county jail, and I'm trying to pass these balloons, right? Because I'm dying for a joint. Well, with all the stress and everything that's going on, I become constipated. It took about a week.
3 balloons?
Oh, no, I don't even remember. At least 4. 4. Okay, and
Whoa.
It was horrible. So there was this American Indian girl, she worked in the kitchen. She brought me some mayonnaise because they're all dying for some weed too. And I'm telling them all I got to do is pass it, right?
Yeah.
So it took about a week, and I'll tell you what, as much as I like weed and as much as I was dying for weed, I would not smoke that shit, and I'm telling you what, that's exactly what it smelled like. Shit.
I know what I ate, so I ain't smoking it. Wow.
So anyway.
County food, too.
Well, I wasn't eating. I was very sick for a while between the alcohol and the drugs that I had been doing for almost 10 years.
So how old were you when you turned yourself in?
I was 28 years old when I
went to prison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, I started the Merchant Marines and the drinking and the partying back at 17 years old when I was bartending. So I've got over 10 years of drinking and drugging, and I was tired and I was ready to go, and I called it a little trip to the health farm, and that's what it was. And I needed it. So that's that, and that's the end of the smuggling. And
Later down the road, maybe we'll talk about prison.
oh yeah, we'll tell you all about the characters in prison. They were fun.
So the 4 years was state, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
4 years was state.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there were at that time there was only one women's prison in California, and that was down in Frontera, California, Southern Cal.
Wow. That's so crazy. It's a movie.
Jeez. It was an adventure, and
Hey, is that purple Hindu Kush?
yes, it is.
Holy shit.
I love it.
I'm so high right now.
Getting high with grandma. All right, guys.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, look forward to the next episode.
Yeah. So now my PTSD could go away. Talk to you soon.
See you later.